Hello, everyone. Happy Live Monday. My name is Laura Cantu, and I am back for another live stream Monday. Today, we are talking about a very, important topic, a topic that a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of parents ask me about. This is how to improve your standardized test scores, how to improve your scores on the SAT and ACT. So, the first thing we'll talk about, should you take the SAT or ACT exam? Should you take them? Should you take your standardized tests? Well, I would say I will give you a number. More than 1,815 colleges in the United States require these exams. So, there's a little bit over 3,000 colleges and universities in the United States. So clearly, about more than half of the colleges in the country require these exams. After the pandemic, we do have to remember that after COVID, after the pandemic hit and test centers were affected by this, colleges started to make these exams optional. Some of them didn't require them at all. Some of them were test blind because a lot of students didn't have the opportunity to go to a test center and take these standardized tests. So for the past couple of years, it has been a little different. But now that the SAT is going online, it's going to be digital. It will be in 2024 and 2023 for international students. But nevertheless, things are going to change when it comes to the SAT exam. It might be more accessible. It might be easier for students across the country to take these exams. And it might be faster. It might be easier for some of the students. They might feel more comfortable. So there's going to be changes to the SAT. I did want to share that with you. And colleges, with these changes, there's a chance that more colleges will require these examinations because, they're digital. So this might mean that it'll be easier for students to get to these exams, be able to take these exams. So keep that in mind and stay updated with the news. Of course, in our social media, we always try to post, and keep you guys updated with all these changes that can happen, throughout the years with SAT, ACT, college admissions, etc. But yes, the SAT is having a little change. It's going to be digital, but this change won't happen till next year. And 2023 is when they will start doing the digital exam, but only for foreign students, students that live outside of the United States. And then in 2024, this change is going to be implemented to, schools across the United States. So it will be digital. So stay tuned if you're a freshman or if you have a student that is currently a freshman in high school. This is something to look out for, because in 2024, they will be a junior. So it'll be right around the time that they have to take this exam. So definitely stay up to date, talk to your teachers, check the College Board page, and be prepared for more changes to come. And we will be prepared to keep you updated. But right now, things are traditional still with the SAT and the ACT and SAT. And the answer is, unless you're applying or your student is applying to, most of the colleges on the students list don't require the SAT at all, or they are, mostly optional, I would recommend, yes, take standardized tests and try to get a high score on these exams. Because standardized tests, even if the school is optional, let's say that you're applying to a university that has a policy of optional standardized test scores. So like they tell you, you don't have to submit your test scores if you don't want to. Great. But what happens if there's two students that have similar, extracurriculars? They had the same GPA. They have, they both play a sport. So their applications are pretty similar. But one of them did, take the time to study and prepare for the SAT. And then the other one, said, oh, it's optional. I'm not going to take it. Who do you think the college is going to choose? the student who went out of their way and submitted their SAT scores and studied for the SAT, or the student who didn't. Chances are the students who did submit their scores and did well on those scores will most likely get accepted and most likely get admitted. So that is something to keep in mind. While, some students have a hard time testing and would rather not having to take this exam at all. Even if they try and they just don't perform well, my advice is, if you know that you've put in the work and you commit to it and you try, definitely try to take these exams, try to get a high score, because doing well in these exams will increase your chances of getting accepted, and could make the difference between you getting accepted over someone who didn't submit their scores. And remember that also SATs and ACT scores are not the only part of your application or of your student's application. You have to remember that it's about creating a great application where most areas are strong. So standardized test area is one part of the application. GPA, having a high GPA, essay, writing the college essay, that's another part of the application that has to be polished and has to be well done. And that part doesn't come till later at the end of junior and in the beginning of senior year. But that's why it's important that students sit tight, assess, if they're freshmen, maybe start preparing for the SAT and ACT a little bit then. Sophomore, add more preparation, more training, more studying, if you will. And then, in the beginning of junior year, really go and study and try to learn more skills in order to perform better. All right, so just a little bit of facts. According to fairtest.org and Georgetown University, in 2021, in the 2020-2021 school year, 43% of students didn't send their SAT and ACT scores. Now, of course, the pandemic was affecting this, but that's a big number. A lot of students weren't sending their scores. So imagine if you were an applicant during that time that did take the SAT and did perform well, maybe the chances of you, getting accepted would have been higher. And this number was really high compared to the year prior where 77% of students did submit their SAT or ACT scores. So most students were submitting their scores. Obviously, there was a chance for them to submit them. There was availability. There wasn't a pandemic happening. But, you get the gist of it. All right. So another thing to talk about, the benefits of taking the SAT and the SAT exams. What are some benefits? There will be chances of winning more merit-based scholarships. Believe it or not, colleges award scholarships to students that perform well in the SAT and the ACT. In Florida, there's a state scholarship program called Bright Futures Foundation. And if students receive a certain test score for the SAT, I believe, they get the Bright Future Scholarship, and it's money that they can use towards their education. And there's programs like this across the country, across the states. Every state has different programs. Even the own universities have institutional scholarships available for students that perform well in the SAT or SAT exams. So, and these institutional scholarships, a lot of the time, are awarded by the institution itself. The student doesn't really have to do anything other than send in their scores. The school will analyze, will see, wow, this student did really well and got a high score. We are going to award them with a institutional scholarships based on merit. So, and then there's also private scholarship programs private scholarships that do award scholarships for students who perform well in the SAT and ACT. So keep that in mind. It's not only, increasing the chances of getting accepted, it can also increase the chances of receiving more merit-based scholarships. Coffee time at 3:23. Alrighty. Another benefit of taking the SAT and the SAT is higher chances of being accepted into more selective universities, right? So a lot of selective universities do require to take the SAT. They don't have that optional policy. And let me share with you the top universities. And this is niche.com, by the way, which is a great website that you can use to look at top universities, look at colleges, do your college search. But basically, this is the list of best test optional colleges in America. MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Yale University. Now, these schools are test optional, right? Test optional, but like I said earlier, you want to take the SAT and ACT for these schools. For these top universities, you don't want to be test optional because believe me, these top schools, these really, really competitive universities are going to choose the students who went out of their way to perform well in these exams, all right? And I found this other website that has, it's more, everything is a little bit more written in a more concise way, all right, so top 30 test optional colleges for 2021-2022. All right, so as you can see here, it says test optional policy for Brown University, 2021-2022 application cycle only, which means a lot of these cycles, which are ending this year, so starting next year, these colleges will most likely not be test optional anymore because, of the pandemic and things hopefully are going to get better. These test optional policies are going to change because it clearly says 2021-2022 application cycle only. This school is test blind. Another Carnegie Mellon University. Carnegie Mellon is another test optional school that is going to be test optional only till this year. So starting this year, most schools will probably go back to, the regular requirements for the SAT and ACT. So my advice is, if a school is test optional, try to take the exam. Try to practice. Try to get a high score. Unless they are test blind, which means if the student submits the test, whether it is the SAT or ACT, they will most likely not look at it. If it's a test optional school, if it's one of your top choices school, let's say you've always wanted to go to Princeton University or Rice University, it's your dream school, is your top school, and they are test optional by the time that you're applying, my advice is try to make your application as perfect as possible. Try to have the high GPA, try to have the extracurriculars, try to have the APs or the dual enrollment class with, good grades, and try to take these exams because this can help you improve your chances of getting accepted. All right? Now, moving on. In order to improve your SAT and ACT scores, your standardized test scores, you have to first define your objective. Which test you're going to choose, right? Which test, whether the SAT or SAT, you're going to take. It's important that students choose between these two exams. A lot of people believe that they have to study for both tests and cram and try to get a really high score in both exams because they have to send both test scores to universities. And this is not the case. Most, if not all, universities in the United States only require the test score result for one exam. So I recommend defining your objective. Define a score range. Do you want to take the SAT or the ACT? The SAT is scored between 400 and 1600, and the ACT is scored between 1 and 36, right? And there are differences. The scoring range is just one difference, but the biggest difference between these exams is the contents, right? The ACT has the science section. The SAT does not have a science section. The ACT is more critical thinking based, whereas the SAT is not. And there are little time differences, between these two exams that might be something that a student will have to consider when choosing between these two exams. Now, why does the student have to choose between these two exams? Well, if a school only requires the test results from one exam, you're not going to split your time and dedication and effort in two exams and trying to cram and take both exams, try to prepare, learn the skills for each exam and expect to do better. It's better to sit down, assess, take some tests, practice exams and see, I felt more comfortable with the ACT. So dedicate your whole entire time to practicing for that one exam and, learning the skills that will help you perform better in that exam. Because as I said, these tests, SAT and ACT, there's little skills, little tactics that, the test makers base the questions on, and students can learn these skills in order to perform better. It's a skill-based test. It's a skill-based exam. So definitely choose one exam, practice for that exam, learn the skills, and trust me, this will help you a lot. Don't try to prepare for both because, unless you're a genius, you will most likely be not wasting your time, but it's better to just choose one and stick with that one. All right, so once you define your objective, it's time for register for the test. So in order to register for the exam, the College Board, which is, where students take the SAT. So I'll show you the website so you know what it looks like. Let me share my screen with you. All right, so you go to the SAT College. Oh, that's not it. No, yeah, it is. It is. Once it loads. Alrighty, so this is the SAT test dates for this school year and where you would go to register for the exam. Now, if you were interested, here are the dates for this upcoming year. As a matter of fact, as you can see, there is a registration deadline for the March SAT 2022. This February 11th, which will be, is it Friday? I don't even know what day it is. But yes, coming up this February 11th, you can see that the registration deadline is happening. And the deadline for changes, cancellation, or late registration will be March 1st. This is for the March 12th SAT. So just a little reminder, if you have a student or if you're a student who wants to take that exam or is planning to take that exam, that deadline is approaching, so you better register. And you can see the rest of the test dates for the rest of this school year. So there's going to be another one in May and then another one in June 4th, 2 days after my birthday. And then, yeah, this is the website. You sign in, you register now, create an account if you don't have one already, which if you're a high school sophomore or junior, you probably should have one. And if you don't, make sure that you create that and you sign up for the SAT. Now, the other website that is used to create an account for standardized tests is the ACT registration. So it's just your ACT account. So you're going to go to www.act.org. Let me show you what it looks like. Here it is. Take the SAT. Register by February 25 to avoid late fees. So you will go register, create your account, and yeah, that is it. It's super simple. Let me show you the schedule just so you know when the ACT test dates are for this year. So maybe you can take a screenshot if you want test dates. Okay, here it is. ACT test date. Let me share it with you, my screen. All right, so here it is. The test dates for this school year. As you can see, we have a September 11th. Oh, this already passed. Sorry, February 12th. There's actually a ACT happening this weekend. So definitely, if you're taking that, good luck. And if you aren't, well, don't worry about it. But the next exam date is April 2nd, June 11th, and July 16th. By the way, this test date, February 12th, is going to be the first ACT or standardized test of the 2022 school year. So good luck to all of you taking this exam, and good luck, if you have any friends or people that are taking this test, good luck to them. But yeah, that was the schedule, and those are the websites that you would use to register for the exam. Super simple and super easy steps to sign up for these tests. There is a fee that a lot of students have to pay in order to register for these exams. There are some students that qualify for a fee waiver. I qualified for a fee waiver when I was in high school, and we do help our students, see and find out whether or not they qualify for a fee waiver and find those fee waivers. And there are ways to get a fee waiver in order to not pay for the ACT or SAT. All right, the third point, the third step to help you improve your SAT scores. You guessed it, practicing for the ACT exam. We recommend that students fully study for 6 to 8 weeks prior to the test. This means that they have to be incorporating study time, taking tests, understanding vocab, understanding terms, 6 to 8 weeks, dedicating 6 to 8 weeks prior to the exam to studying. Of course, definitely there should be more studying taking place even before, just getting familiar, understanding, and preparing for even longer than 6 to 8 weeks. But 6 to 8 weeks is, I guess, the minimum that we recommend. Another way a way for students to improve their score is a resource is a private tutor. These do cost money, and I know that not a lot of people have access to these tutors because they can get pretty expensive. But a lot of high schools do offer SAT or ACT prep. There are teachers who might help students understand. Let's say if a student buys a booklet or a course online and they have a question on a specific subject, chances are if you have a math or an English teacher, depending on the subject it is, you could go to a teacher and ask them. I actually did that when I was preparing for the SAT with my math teacher. I had a question that I had on one of my booklets, and she actually helped me understand what the question was asking and how to solve it. Another resource, and this one's free, and I recommend it to every student that is preparing for the SAT, is the Khan Academy. Khan Academy is completely free. It's an online course full of very important information, of really helpful information that helps students prepare for the SAT. All they have to do is create an account, and they will have access to this amazing resource. And this resource includes quizzes, practice test exams, different questions, test sections that will help them prepare and improve, tips, etc. And there's things like the ACT online prep, which it's actually included inside the Best College Aid membership. All of our members have access to a year of Best College Aid, the ACT online prep account. So our students who are going to be sophomores or going to be juniors, you can activate this account at any point. So we have students who are right now in middle school, so clearly they don't have to activate this account. But by the time that they're in high school, maybe sophomore or junior year, they can activate it and start preparing for the ACT. It's a super helpful online prep account that usually costs money, but if you're a Best College Aid member, this comes included with your membership. And we have students who are already using it and who are already preparing for the ACT and the SAT. For our ACT online prep. And then we also have some free resources that we, share with our students. So it is pretty helpful, and a lot of our students are doing amazing. So yeah, those were your resources. I'll pull them up again. Private tutor, which often costs money. Khan Academy is amazing. And for Khan Academy, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. There's other resources. There isn't only, an SAT course. There is AP classes, there is just math, English, if you want to get stronger in those subjects. And there's courses, very step-by-step, very helpful courses. And the people who write the SAT exam every year, the creators of the SAT, are actually the same creators of Khan Academy. So the questions written inside the test prep for the Khan Academy free resource are written by the same people who write the SAT exam. So that's really important to know, and it's really important that students use this free resource, because there are resources, that are not expensive, that are completely free for students. It's all about looking for them and taking advantage of them. Alrighty? So finally, another tip, tip to maximize your odds of, performing better on standardized tests is taking a practice test at least 2 weeks prior to your test date. It's kind of like preparing for a marathon. You can't just run it. You have to prepare, and you have to do a couple of long runs prior to the marathon. So I actually had to do a 22-mile run, a little bit less than a month before the marathon. Same thing, a little bit, 2 weeks prior to your test date, take a practice exam. There is online practice exams that students can print out, and they can, take and time themselves, separate, a random Saturday afternoon in order to take these exams and to see how you perform. If you take it 2 weeks, or if your student takes it 2 weeks before the actual test date, this will give them an opportunity to see, okay, so I didn't perform as well. I got these questions wrong on this specific subject, so I definitely should study this theorem or this vocab words because I didn't perform as well. So knowing this will help me for the exam. And as I said, there is even the College Board, inside the College Board and inside the ACT organization's website, there are free SAT and ACT online prep exams that students can download. There's even the answers are also there, and some of them have explanations. So definitely make sure that you take a test, a practice exam, and that you make sure you see what questions you didn't perform so well, what you need to strengthen, and dedicate time to better yourself. Because trust me, even though it sounds like a lot of work, getting a scholarship, getting more financial aid, getting accepted, it's pretty worth it. All right. So I hope those tips were helpful. I hope those resources are of use to you, and that you really use them and take advantage of them. Because as I said, these resources are super helpful, and they have helped a lot of students in the United States. And finally, I do want to invite you to check out our free webinar. We have a free webinar where we share with you the 6 secrets to go to college with scholarships. All you have to do is register, and you will be able to access this free training that my brother, shares with you. He shares exactly what my family and I did when we were in high school, my 3 siblings and myself, so the 4 of us, what we did in order to get full tuition scholarships to college. We received more than $500,000 for, combined in scholarships and financial aid. And we were able to attend, our dream schools with full tuition scholarships. So definitely, if you want to learn how you can do it, I invite you to join our free webinar. I will show you how you can access it. Let me share my screen with you. All right, so here's the live stream you should be watching right now. That's me. Lovely. All you have to do is click on show more. Here where it says free webinar, you click and you will have access to our free online training, 6 steps to go to college with scholarships, and you will see what we will teach you right here in this live, on this free training. You will learn how to look for scholarships and financial aid, how to make college applications stand out, how to write a great college essay, and how to understand the 4 types of financial aid and scholarships available to you. There's also live chat support available throughout the webinar. So if you have any questions throughout the training, they can get answered, and in the chat. So it's actually, you can chat with us and we will be answering your questions along the way. So definitely check that out. Link below this video's description and register for our free training. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave your comment in the comment section. I hope you found this information helpful, and I'll see you again next Monday or tomorrow. Bye-bye.